This is the video review of the Torozord and the Magnet Defender from Power Rangers Lost Galaxy, and this is a pretty interesting set, but by far it is not my favorite set. It has some neat things going for it, but I don't feel like they justify the price of hunting down this thing and buying it and then having it shipped. I really don't think this set's really worth much effort to get, but if you have it, it is kind of neat. So to start with, we'll look at the Magnet Defender because he's kind of the impetus for this thing to exist. Now, he has these little floppy weapons here. They're soft rubberized plastic, and they fit in his hands pretty easily. They're just little tabs that fit into there. And they can combine into a larger weapon like this. They clip together. And until we get to the Megazord mode, that's about all there is to them. Now, the Magnet Defender himself is a pretty posable little Ranger figure. His head can rotate around 360. His arms go around 360 and go in and out. And he has a double-jointed elbow here. And his wrist can rotate. Now, unfortunately, he doesn't have a biceps swivel, which would have worked really nice on this guy, but oh well. He does have a bit of a pectoral joint, but both arms move at the same time, and it looks a little bit disjointed. This is for transformation, but you can conceivably use it for poses. Now, the legs are pretty well jointed. They go forward, back, in, out, rotate above the thigh, double joint at the knee, and then you get a foot joint here. It only bends down. If it bent forward, it would be a really nice joint, and it would allow him to take lots of neat poses. But unfortunately, this guy does not have a flat instep, which is a problem because it means that he can only balance on these points here, and here, which is a very shallow footprint, and it means it's hard to get him to balance very well, especially because he has a lot of die cast up high. Yeah, he does actually have quite a bit of die cast in, which is nice, but he's just top-heavy and hard to balance because of the shape of his foot. And really, I don't understand this, because he could have just made it straight up here like this. I mean, no kid is going to complain, oh, his foot isn't shaped like a real human's foot, which is kind of complex. But even a real human's foot kind of has a flat instep where it touches at the ball and the toe and then at the heel. There's none of this stuff in between right here, between the toe and ball and heel. So I just don't get the reason why toy companies like Hasbro and Bandai continually sculpt feet with this weird shape that does not let the figures balance. It'd be so easy to just make it straight, and then the figure could balance perfectly in so many poses. That's a bit of a rant. I have this complaint about a lot of Transformers and action figures and stuff like that. Anyway, he poses pretty well, and you can get him to balance if you put a lot of effort into it. I've never been a fan of just action figures. I always like them to have a bit of a transformation gimmick, but he's not bad. Now, to transform this guy so we can combine with the Torozord here, we will put his ears up like this, bring the arms up like this. Then there's a little tab right here. Push this down. That will bring his arms together on that joint I talked about earlier. Fold the feet down, and then bend the legs up to his back like this. And that's about it. Put it off to the side, and we'll look at it later. Split these apart. Here is the actual Torozord. Now, it does have a saddle here that this guy can sit on. It doesn't work very well. He just kind of sits there. There's no way for it to really look like he belongs there. You could set him on your finger and it'd be the same thing. Anyway, it looks pretty decent. I like the face. I like the eyes and how they shine. You can see them through the what's kind of the helmet for the transformation. I like how that works because when you push this down, you can't see them anymore. I do wish that they didn't do this hollow stuff on the horns, because when you look at them from the front, it looks kind of bad, and really they're just trying to make it so it looks good when it's in the Megazord mode. That is kind of annoying, but otherwise, looks pretty okay. Legs go forward and back. Well, they rotate around 360. They will bump into the horn, but they also go in and out. And they can rotate, although that's for transformation, and it does cause the fists to start come out. And that's about it. You can move the legs back a little bit, but oh yeah, you can do that, but it doesn't look that great. Basically, because this isn't how a ungulate's legs actually bend. And actually, this guy doesn't really work as an ungulate, because ungulates don't have toes like this. They have hooves that just go straight down, kind of. But this looks like it has a I suppose it looks like a goat's feet, because goats are ungulates, which have cloved hooves, kinda. So yeah, these feet, I don't really understand them, because they aren't the feet that a bull would have. Anyway, to transform this guy, you will push this up. And on mine, this is a broken thing so that I can only get it to stay up that far. Doesn't really affect the appearance that much, but oh well. Next, you'll bring this down. And this is really cool how this works. You rotate the feet, and then they will just come down on their own when you do that. Now, looking up a bit. Bring the arms down this side. Rotate them the same way you rotated the feet to get them to come down to make the fists come out. And boom shakalaka. Rotate this back, and here you have the Torozord in its robot mode. Now this isn't the complete idea. This is just, you can do it without combining it with this guy. And what would happen in this show is that this guy would actually jump in and use this guy like a suit of armor. I feel like they could have done a better job with this than they actually did, because I feel like they could have had his legs go straight down through here, because in here there isn't anything. It's just kind of hollow in there. Now, probably it's for this saddle gimmick here. Might have been okay if they just shaped the saddle slightly differently so that he could actually sit on this bit. Anyway, you just set him in here, bring this up over the back, bring this over the forward, and it will kind of clip into place, and there you go. It gains quite a bit of mass, of heft, because you have a die-cast block in there essentially now. And it looks pretty good. It looks okay. It's just not my favorite thing in the world, because there's not much of a point, because it's a standalone figure. The Ranger guy doesn't really combine that well. He just kind of sits in there and adds mass. You can't see his face in here. It's just, if you don't have the Ranger figure, the figure isn't ruined, so the Ranger is the reason for this thing to exist in the first place because of how it interacts with it, but it doesn't need it, so it's kind of a weird figure that sits in limbo of existence, of why it should exist. Now these little rubber things can sit in the hands, like this, and they look kind of small, and you cannot combine them like you could for the individual Ranger guy, because if you do combine them, you just can't get him to hold it because you can't get his fist in there. Well, actually, I suppose you could put it in from the underside. It's still not combining them the same way, but you can do that. And for posability, same posability you had before. You rotate this around, bring this in and out, and then you've got knees. None of the leg stuff you can use, because if you use it, then he will topple over. So it's not the greatest figure in the world. It's certainly interesting. They could have done something to make it work better, like if the Ranger's legs actually went through here, or if just putting the Ranger in completed the figure in some way. I don't mean to say that it should be incomplete without the Ranger, because it's nice that if you don't have the Magna Defender, it still works, but if the Ranger being inserted actually caused something interesting to happen, I feel like this would be a stronger figure. As it is, it's just kind of meh. Happy to have it in my collection, but if I wouldn't grab it in the fire, is what I'm saying. Anyway, this has been a review. I recommend it kinda okay. I mean, if you are a completionist kind of like I am, get it. I wouldn't have got it if it hadn't been bundled with the Lost Galaxy Megazord and I bought it on eBay, but it's certainly a purchase you can make. I won't think less of you if you want this thing and buy it. Oh well, I review Power Rangers, Transformers, lacrosse figures, lots of stuff like that. If any of that sounds interesting, please subscribe. Thank you for watching.